Hello people of the internet, welcome to Paint to Life episode 51, the YouTube channel where we take tiny plastic miniatures, throw some acrylic paint on them, and breathe life in them with storytelling. So you might learn something new on the subject or just take the story to make it your own. Tonight's original story is a continuation of King Kilgore from the Isle of Tetris. If you didn't see that episode and want to get familiarized, the link's right there. Feel free to check it out. And as always, if you like my content and want to support the channel, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below or share it with anyone you think who might enjoy it. Finally, the painting video that's going to be playing up here will be released on Tuesday if you want to paint along at home. I'm GM Atank. Let's get painting. Okay, last time on Paint to Life, I painted and told the story of the Dracolich known as Oblivion's Flame. That episode can be found here if you didn't get a chance and want to check it out. A Goristro is a huge demon, described by scholars as a living siege engine. Standing 20 feet tall and weighing in at over 14,000 pounds, the Goristros, or Goristroi, had a bear-like appearance with long and wide arms like the trunks of trees, allowing them to move with knuckles like giant gorillas as they barreled forward. Wide shoulders carried a massive head reminiscent of a bison with large, sharp teeth and giant horns curving upwards. Goristroi were amazingly unintelligent beings and only concerned themselves with smashing things. Only the rare object that they found to be aesthetically pleasing would escape their destruction. Now, their treasure hoards, due to this fact, would consist of objects ranging from priceless artifacts to petty pieces of trash that they found appealing. Despite not needing to consume food, they enjoyed eating all kinds of living creatures for the sensation of movement in their mouth during the crushing and shredding of their massive jaws. As previously mentioned, Goristroi made exceptional siege beasts, obliterating walls and buildings, and unhampered by minor injuries in doing so by their minor regenerative powers. Finally, the Goristro are the favored servitors of their creator, the demon lord known as Bahamut, not to be confused with the platinum dragon Bahamut, lord of the good-aligned metallic dragons. Bahamut is also the creator and worship deity of most Minotaurs, which have many similar traits to Goristros, or Goristroi, although a third of the size. I think most people know what a Minotaur is. We have them in Greek mythology. In D&D, they're not highly intelligent, but they're instinctively cunning and adept at setting up ambush attacks. But who is our Goristro? Far to the west of Waterdeep in Faerun lies an archipelago known as the Whalebones. On one of its largest islands is the Grand Minotaur Kingdom of Tetris, with its imposing walled capital city of Tetris. Well known for its piracy, slavery, ancient eldritch ruins, and premium mercenary forces, it's a savage land of you keep what you kill, and every individual's weakness is somebody else's gain. However, for the better part of a decade, the king of Tetris, King Kilgore, has been obsessed with creating a monument to his greatness in the form of a legendary labyrinth known as the Mysterium. Having finally finished his creation, he held an enormous banquet and invited a lot of the Minotaur tribe leaders from the surrounding lands to attend. It was at that time that the unimaginable happened. The entire Mysterium just vanished, leaving a gaping hole in the surrounding jungles and an empty seat atop the throne of Tetris. King Kilgore's daughter, Alessa, stepped up quickly to fill her father's hooves as the next leader. She was a cruel and unusual Minotaur, known for both her ferocity in the arena and her above-average intellect. Let's see if I can find a picture for you here. Oh, no, I better turn safe search on. There, that's her. Both capable and driven, Alessa positioned herself as the natural replacement for her father, and the people of Tetris seemed accepting of the birthright, all except one. Alessa's uncle, the brother of the missing King Kilgore, Cartis, believed he was both more powerful and knowledgeable in the affairs of the world than his impetuous niece.
You are strong, smart, and very capable, young Alessa. You will make an excellent lieutenant in my army. You are right on almost all fronts, uncle, except the part of me being a mere lieutenant.
This family conflict was not going away on its own, and while there were no rules of law in Tetris for secession of heritage, something Alessa had just predicted the population would accept, there were rules for secession by bloodshed. So it was known that Alessa would fight her uncle to the death in one of the many coliseums in the great city of Tetris to determine its next ruler. The day of the battle, Uncle Cartis offered Alessa a blessing of Bahamut, and whoever was worthiest would rise and claim the throne. And as he saluted her, his treacherous plan was sprung. 3 of his hidden associates used a magic rune and opened a portal to the plane of demons known as the Abyss. And Cartis pushed his niece through the portal and closed it. There would be only one ruler of Tetris, and that ruler would not be female. The plane of infinite portals, the topmost of the uncountable abyss layers. A barren, dusty place with no greenery, baking beneath a hell-red sun, with huge pits in the earth, great iron strongholds, and of course the river Styx. Overwhelmed with rage by being dishonorably bested by her uncle, Alessa spent the better part of an hour rampaging and destroying everything she could get her hands on, including some unlucky weak demons, mains, who were just minding their own business. Perhaps it was this place, or her bloodlust, but at a point, she reached an epiphany. This was a blessing in disguise. She was in the home of her god, the Horned Lord Baphomet. She would seek him out for an audience, pledge herself to his service, and either divine the location of her father or return like a conquering heroine. With this new resolve, she began descending deeper and deeper into the madness that was the abyss. Alessa fought through scores of demons who would not grant her passage, although some recognized her kind as a child of Bahamut and gave her help or just ignored her. She discovered a roaming pack of devils up to no good and led some demons to their position and aided in ambushing and destroying them. The demons in turn offered her equipment and directions further down into the abyss, like shortcuts. She freed an imprisoned shadow dragon that had been trapped and left for eternity in a gilded cage by some unknown and forgotten creature. As a reward, it flew her down several hundred miles closer to her destination. Ultimately, after months of relentless fighting and spelunking, she was outside the 600th layer of the abyss, the great endless maze, supposedly infinite in size. Somewhere inside this maze, she hoped to find her lord's infamous Tower of Science. However, while navigating this maze, as skilled as she indeed was, she began to falter. The harrying attacks by the residents were constant, and she grew exhausted. Her bloodlust had all but sated, and Alessa found herself more and more so questioning her goals. Then, on the 69th day of her banishment, it was all over. She was overwhelmed and doomed to be torn to pieces by whatever the hell those things are. Suddenly a roar which resonated for miles broke the creatures' chittering, and they scurried back through the cracks in the maze walls. Alessa stood up, gathered her strength, and prepared to meet her end on her hooves. She could see the top half of the massive creature approaching before it burst through the maze wall, as it had been doing for miles, its massive hands tearing down the walls like sheets of paper, tossing the loose stones like they were nothing or made of foam. One of her attacking demons had been displaced by this destruction, and the massive creature reached down and grabbed it, gnawing it into paste and blood and ichor raining down on Alessa as she bravely stood her ground. Its enormous frame pivoted and grabbed another scurrying demon, clearly drawn by the fleeing movement more than anything else. Gathering as much bravery as she had left in the tank, and throwing a quick farewell thought to her god Baphomet, she spoke.
"Oh, aren't you ravenous, big brother?"
The creature whirled on its heel and quite dexterously grabbed her and brought her off the ground to its considerable face and roared, spraying snot and spit right at her. With nothing left to lose, she roared right back at him. Strangely, quiet descended on the scene. The great beast, its head as wide as a city bus, looked curiously at its new toy, and its menacing, toothy portal closed. Was that a smile?
Yes.
Alessa was flabbergasted. Had this creature just spoke in Abyssal, the language of the abyss? It gently shook her, its smile waning. Her armor crimped into her chest udders under the growing pressure from this great grip. It's a good thing she had learned the language of the pit. The creature's head cocked. The great Goristro exploded into a kind of hyena-like laughter which was so loud and close to Alessa, she'd be deafened for an hour afterwards. He pressed her into the disgusting fur behind his neck, caked with black demon ichor, blood, and crawling with all kinds of maggots and other parasites. She held on, and the massive brute began to move again, although in a completely different direction than he had been moving when he encountered Alessa. The Minotaur and Goristro ended up in a small clearing where Ravenous lay down. This appeared to be a lair of some kind, as there was a crude bed of dried hedges, a pile of rusting armor, and a pile of small trees intentionally stacked up like a lattice structure. There were also many bones strewn about. Alessa recognized the infatuation Ravenous had for her, and over the next few weeks, she gathered materials from the endless maze that they traveled and created a crude harness to support a platform she could ride atop to get a better look at her surroundings, to find Baphomet, her father, or anything of importance. Ultimately, months would pass together, and Ravenous and Funny Cow were obviously enjoying each other's company in this lonely place. But one day Alessa spotted some Minotaur remains in the maze, and there was a battle flag and standard of her home, the city of Tetris.
Ravenous, do you know Tin D Fix Sticks?
She pointed at the Tetris symbol.
Indeed. Dicks, kicks, dicks, nidicks, and you can eat as many chewies as you'd like.
Ravenous began walking, backtracking, following a route he supernaturally could recall, a route he had once taken but could never forget, no matter how infantile his intelligence. They arrived at some kind of nexus with many portals. Through one, Alessa could see the green, oceanic fields of Tetris. Now, King Cardus had been a mediocre king. Not so bad to encourage an uprising, but he started without much fanfare due to the suspicious nature of his niece Alessa's disappearance right before their scheduled fight, just like her father. However, his reign was about to be cut short. The guards of the spire saw the behemoth on the horizon, pulling apart the walls of the citadel like a child pulls apart pieces of Lego, atop which a battlement, and riding a female minotaur looking down again at the city she hadn't seen in over 6 months. But nothing had scared Cardus as much in his entire life than seeing that massive creature in the distance looking directly at him in the castle and bellowing out his very name. Needless to say, his associates quickly opened a portal to the abyss again, and all of them jumped in without hesitation. Now, crowned Queen of Tetris, Alessa looks around the surrounding lands from her castle courtyard and asks her beast,
So, what Eastwick should the Pussyland conquer next? Eastwick. Anyone she wants.
Ravenous, the Goristro. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I think that Queen Alessa and a mobile, rideable siege monster would make a great antagonist to any D&D campaign, don't you think? Maybe I'll bring this to my group next time we play in person. They'd hate me. Here they are, Ravenous the Goristro and Alessa, for the shelf. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're looking for a new hobby to kill some time if you're locked down, head on down to your friendly local game store. Maybe they do curbside pickup or delivery. I'm getting more and more emails from people who are starting to do that, inspired by Paint to Life, and I think that's wonderful. Make sure you tell them GM Atank sent you. Anyways, that's all I have for tonight. Hope everyone in your family is safe and healthy, and you are as well. I'm GM Atank. Wash your hands, people. Let's see if I can find a picture for you here. Oh, I can find a picture for you here. Let's see if I can find a picture for you here. Oh, no, I can find a picture for you here. Oh, no, I better turn safe search on.